I now call to order the City of Cottonwood Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting, Monday, June 16, 2025, at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Camella?
Present.
Commissioner Gaylor? Commissioner Glasscock?
Present.
Commissioner Rothrock?
Present.
Vice Chairman Garrison?
Present.
Chairwoman Maston?
Present. Our first order of business is to approve...
I'm here too, by the way, George.
Glad you made it, George.
Sorry.
Our first order of business is to approve the minutes for the meetings held Monday, February 24, 2025, and Monday, April 24, 2025. We will need to approve these minutes individually, one after the other. Do any of the commissioners have any corrections or additions to the minutes? Anyone on Zoom? Okay.
Not me.
No corrections or additions. I move to approve the February 24, 2025 minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimously approved. I move to approve the April 24, 2025 minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, unanimously carried. Our next order of business is informational reports and updates. Mr. Director.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commission. I don't really have anything exciting for you tonight.
That's good. We have a really big agenda. We're going to move on forward. We have one item from old business this evening. This is DR-25-003.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commission. I'm Tina Hayden with Community Development. And I have a revised design review item regarding Circle K for you. This item was reviewed at the May meeting and approved with the stipulation that the applicant come back with this revision. The request tonight is a request for approval of the revised development plans, which includes a screening wall within the landscape yards that are adjacent to State Route 89A and 12th Street frontages. We ask that you consider the applicant's revised submittal and the staff report with revised recommended stipulations. After receiving the applicant's revised submittal, staff did evaluate it. The proposed modifications that we noticed were the addition of that screening wall along the street frontages. Hold on 1 second. The revision to the retaining wall by the parking on the east side of the building. In the old submittal, it was a raised retaining wall. In this new submittal, it is relatively flush with the street aside from the curbing. Third item here is modification to the right-in, right-out pork chop to accommodate the large vehicle turning radius. Lastly, removal of one parking space from that south parking area, and then the concurrent driveway widening. Again, that should accommodate large vehicle turning so that they're not turning into oncoming traffic on 12th Street. I have both site plans, one from the May submittal and then one from the revised submittal here. Here we see the pork chop. So again, this was the May submittal. They've widened here so there's 19 feet on each side, narrowed it down, and actually moved it a little further east there. Next is the parking and concurrent lane widening here. So we go from 10 to 9. You can also take note of the turning radius here. Again, before it was, here's the center lane right here. It was projecting over into that northbound traffic. Now it is showing that it should be able to stay out of that northbound traffic. And applicant included that screening wall in the landscape area. The applicant did take pictures of nearby screening walls within the area. So this is their findings. And here are elevations and a rendering of what that screening wall would look like. This red section here indicated on the landscape plan runs parallel with 89A here. This is what we're viewing as a perspective and as an elevation with a 2.5-foot wall with some additional elements here. I also have before and after renderings. This bottom one here is from the May submittal. You can see the retaining wall there and how in the revised submittal that's been amended. And you can also see that we do have that screening wall added in here. With the previous submittal, staff had recommended some stipulations that the commission did approve with. Staff recommends some revisions to that, mainly stipulation 1 to not only encompass the May meeting approval, but this month's meeting approval as well. And then staff does recommend the addition of stipulation number 7 that the commission recommends a reduction in parking to the 17 spaces, subject to the approval of the community development director per section 406D7, which allows parking reductions. That concludes my presentation for the modified design review. I am ready for any questions you have. My applicants are attending via Zoom, so if you have any questions, they can answer via Zoom.
All right, first, we'll give the commissioners an opportunity to ask staff any questions that you may have. Does anyone have any lingering questions for staff regarding this project?
How far is that retaining wall from the sidewalk? What's the distance? I couldn't find that roughly, from the sidewalk to the retaining wall.
It's definitely greater than 10 feet.
Okay,
A little over 10 feet.
okay.
All
And then
right.
the landscaping in there, Circle K is responsible for that.
Correct. Circle K is responsible for that landscaping, even from the sidewalk back. They're responsible to maintain that as well. I'd also like to state that the quantity of trees was not reduced from last month's approval to this resubmittal.
That's all. Thank you.
Commissioner Glasscott or Commissioner Gaylor, do you have any questions regarding this?
I do.
I do not.
I just would like to see the elevation of the retaining wall, if you could display that. So what we're looking at here, is this the same finish as the building? Or is that, I just want to make sure I understand what I'm looking at. Is that some sort of, I don't know, sculpted block, or is it just flat, plain CMU block that's painted?
It's painted split face CMU. And it is matching the architecture.
It's split face and matches what's on the building, okay. I just want to get away from the, the block walls that bleed lime all over the place. I think, it looks pretty good other than that.
Thank you, Commissioner Gaylor. We'll have a moment where everyone can give their thoughts too, and we can discuss on the commission. Vice Chair.
That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, we also, as staff mentioned, we have the applicant available via Zoom. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? All right, no questions for the applicant. Do we have anyone here from the public who wants to speak regarding this proposed project? I have a couple of sheets here, and I'm a little unclear which agenda items that these are for. So just double checking that no one's here who wants to speak on this one. Okay. No one is coming forward from the public, so I'm going to close the floor to the public. Now we have the opportunity on the commission to share our thoughts about the revisions to this, and if there's anything further that we need to discuss. Commissioner Camella.
The turning radius was a big one from what I gathered, so I'm glad that got taken care of, and that, because that street's busy enough, so that was a big concern that I had, so I think that's a good move, and I definitely agree with it, so.
Commissioner Rothrock, anything?
It definitely looks like an improvement. I like the wall as well as the better turning radius out of the off the street.
Commissioner Gaylor, I think I know what you're going to say, but you can go ahead and say it.
I like it. How's that?
Oh, really? I thought you were going to talk about the lime. Okay.
No. They described it as a split face block, and it's a color similar to the building itself, and I don't think we're going to notice anything like that.
All right. And Commissioner Glasscott?
No, I think it was great that they responded quickly, and I like it.
All right. Vice Chair?
I have nothing.
All right. So I am actually going to propose that we do go a step further on the wall if my fellow commissioners agree with me, which it sounds like maybe they will not. But there is a material on the materials board provided by the applicant. It's the material number 3. It's called Canyon Brick, and it's a cladding. And I think adding an additional cladding over that CMU block would go a long way towards making this more attractive. It is a large lot. It is a highly visible corner. And I think that one of our responsibilities in design reviews to think about how this is going to look on the frontage. There you go, Commissioner Rothrock. It's that one. So, I am not singularly the commission. If any other commissioners agree with me, that could be an addition to a stipulation.
I like that, number 3, too. It adds different, other than just, it's a block wall, but at least we can make it aesthetically, it's a lot more aesthetically pleasing than regular.
Yeah, it does a job. It's a safety feature, but it's also a long block wall on a major street.
Right.
Is there anything that breaks up the,
The CMU's not shown on this
what are
one.
they,
The wall is broken up,
Yeah.
I believe, but are you requesting to put that as a cap?
Yes,
on the
I am.
top?
I am. I'm requesting it as a cladding. Is that something that would be reasonable for you guys on the applicant side?
The architect is not here to speak, but I don't see that would be a problem to add that. Brian, do you have any thoughts?
No, I don't have any concerns about doing that.
So, can I,
Go ahead.
I'm actually okay with the wall as presented. I'm not a big fan of the pop-outs with the steel. The wall, compared to the one at the existing new Circle K here on the corner of 12th and Mingus, that one is just one long solid wall, except for the corner where they kind of did a pop-out thing. This one is very broken up. It looks like they're only 20-foot sections, and then there's a gap that ties back into the next one. So from the street, it's going to have a lot of texture. I'm actually okay with the split face. The problem is on the other side of the split face is just CMU basically, and it doesn't tend to look good in the long run.
Right. Unless
you were to split both sides, which I don't think is what they definitely didn't do it over here at 12th or at Mingus and Main. I would say if you're going to go with the cladding, which would look actually really nice, then you wouldn't necessarily need to do the steel pop-outs.
I would agree
I
with
would
that.
be fine with giving up one for the other. I think the cladding would look better in the long run, and I think the steel pop-outs would actually just kind of detract from that clean look that you would get with that cladding. So I'd be okay with them changing if they're okay with it, as long as they pull off the steel pop-outs.
I'm completely fine with that. Commissioner Rothrock?
I think it would look good.
Commissioner Camilla?
I agree.
Commissioner Glasscott?
Sounds good.
Commissioner Gaylor?
George, where'd you go?
Commissioner Gaylor, you might be muted.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you were waiting for me. Yeah, I like everything I'm hearing, the
Okay.
cladding, the capstone, the whole bit, and I'm not that hung up on the steel treatments either. I mean, I like the idea that it's broken up a little bit here and there. I thought I detected that on the site plan, so I wasn't too worried about it, but yeah. I think
Okay,
it's pretty good. They're all good ideas.
all right. Sounds good. I believe we're ready to entertain a motion, Mr. Vice Chair.
Let me get back to that page. That was clear down in the actual plans.
You can use
Sorry.
mine if you want.
I'm almost there.
Okay.
I move to approve DR 25003 with the proposed revisions, subject to the stipulations indicated in the staff report and the addition of the cladding on the
Landscape screening wall.
landscape screening wall as discussed.
All right. that will work.
What, question?
Yes, Commissioner Gaylord? Commissioner Gaylord?
I think he keeps muting.
I think we're having a technical issue.
I'm shocked.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering if they had split face on both sides of the wall.
They do not.
Is that part of the motion or no?
We are amending it with a cladding.
The cladding, what does that mean? A capstone?
We're going to clad it in a canyon brick that they have on their material wall, or on their material board.
Okay, is that a capstone? Are we doing a capstone?
No, it's just a
Okay.
cladding.
All right,
Did you want to discuss a capstone, Commissioner Gaylord?
not especially.
Okay, I don't think it's necessary.
All right.
All right. At this time, I think the suggested motion is still good. Yes. All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Rothrock. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All those against? Unanimously carried. Now we have new business. We have CUP 25-001, which is this same project for Circle K. Please
Thank
take it away.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commission. Yes, this is the same project. It's a conditional use permit regarding signage. Tonight, we ask, or the applicant requests approval of a conditional use permit to allow a sign plan to exceed the maximum number, area, and height in their signs. We ask that you consider the applicant's submittal, the staff report with recommended stipulations and findings. And here is a chart. There are provisions in the zoning ordinance that allow for signs in excess of what is permitted, subject to the conditional use permit. In this case, what is allowed is 4 signs, 166 square feet, and for the monument signs, a height of 10 feet. Applicant is proposing this column here with a difference of 3 additional signs, 14 additional square feet, and the monument signs to be 10 feet 6 inches. Some additional details. This is a C2 heavy commercial zone. To the north, east, and west, we have C2, a little to the south, and then some C1 light commercial zoning as well to the south. Property is approximately 1.52 acres. The sign package in question is only covering 7 signs, and the other signs indicated on the site plan are permitted in Section 405 and are not counted towards the sign quantity or allowed square footage. So we have 7 signs, 2 to be affixed to the building, 1 affixed to the canopy, 2 monument signs, and 2 directional signs with the logo. The only reason we are counting these directional signs is because they have a logo and it is considered branding. Typically, a conditional use permit approval indicates a 6-month expiration, then we have to go into revocation. If not pursued, staff proposes an extension to the commission so that this conditional use permit will run concurrently with the building permit timeline. Here is the site plan. Again, there are more than just the 7 signs indicated on the plan. So I've called out the ones that we are looking at tonight. The first one, A, is a monument sign on 12th Street. Item B is a monument sign on 89A. We have item C, which is the canopy sign. D, which is a sign affixed to the building on that south elevation. F, fixed on that east elevation. And then the directional signage on 89A and on 12th Street. So these are the signs that are called out right here. Here are elevations of the proposed signs. These are the A, B monument signs. These are the ones that are affixed to the canopy and the buildings. Items C, D, and F is indicated on the site plan. And these are I and J are directional signs with the logos on them. In order for the commission to approve a conditional use permit, they must make 3 findings of facts. The first one is general findings. This is where we look at the design and operation characteristics and determine if there's a detriment to the health, safety, or welfare of the surrounding properties. In this case, the increase in signage, the increase of 14 square feet of area and the half a foot increase in height to the monuments, that is all the applicant is asking for. Staff is not recommending that there is a detriment to the health and safety of the community. The second item, compatibility with surrounding uses. This is looking at the intensity of the activity. Surrounding properties are subject to the same provisions of the zoning ordinance regarding proposed increases to size maximums. So any of the other properties can come and request a conditional use permit to increase this, their signage. Additional signage is not expected to increase in intensity of use. This property is already going to be operating 24/7, 365 days a year. So it's already got a high-intensity use. Signage is not expected to increase that. Any illuminated signage is still going to be subject to Section 408 of our zoning ordinance for outdoor lighting. The last finding of fact regarding traffic and circulation, this is looking at adequate access to the site and to public streets. The signage to be located on the building canopy, or the signage will be located on the building canopy and within the landscape yard. So it will be on the property, at minimum 5 feet from the property line per our zoning ordinance. Additionally, the signage, any signage that is determined to be within a site triangle will have a 2-foot height limitation. Upon review of the plan, it appears to be outside of the site triangle. It may be subject to that ADOT permitting, which is a required stipulation for the design review. Lastly, additional signage is not expected to increase traffic impacts. If anything, it may help drivers to identify the location and know where to turn. Staff recommends 4 stipulations for this project. The first one, the project's developed in conformance with the plans is reviewed tonight. Second one, the project conforms to the Code Review Board comment letter. Number 3, that the project complies with all applicable sections of the zoning ordinance. And then number 4 is that extension of the conditional use permit approval to run concurrently with the building permit timeline, that a permanent sign permit application must be submitted and diligently pursued prior to issuance of certificate of occupancy. That concludes my presentation. I'm ready for any questions you have. And again, our applicants are on Zoom.
All right, before we ask the applicants any questions, do any of the commissioners have questions for staff? All right, I'm not hearing any questions for staff. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant regarding the signed conditional use permit?
I've got questions on the monuments, for the monument signs.
Go ahead, Commissioner Gaylor, and then Commissioner Rothrock will go right after.
Sure. Can you put the elevation on the screen? The brickwork at the base, is this something that matches that wall?
Thank you, Commissioner Gaylor. Yes, support base is fabricated of that Nietzsche Canyon brick, which is item 3 on the materials board that was submitted.
Okay. And so the zoning ordinance, does it specify a minimum monument for the a monument size, for a monument sign?
I will actually defer to our planner Clover Pinion. She is more well-versed in signage.
Please introduce yourself for the record.
Hi, Clover Pinion with Community Development. Honestly, I have to go back. It's a specific question. I have to go back and look at the ordinance specifically. But if I do recall, I believe it's 40 square feet of the actual sign. The digital displays do not count towards that. They have their own.
Excuse me.
18-foot.
The question that I have has to do with the monument base itself. You know, just the rock work down at the bottom. Is there a
No.
a minimum size for that?
No.
Really?
I mean, it's all based on engineering because of the height of the sign. They are required to have engineering.
Right, but the monument itself, in the past, we'd required, you know, a decorative rock monument on the base, and it was supposed to be at least the width of the sign. It looks like it is. I just wondered if there was a minimum height requirement for the monument itself. Can you tell me how high that one is? I can't really read it.
The Circle K monument sign is 10 and a half feet.
No, the monument itself, it's a base, the
Just the
rock
base.
base.
Oh, gosh.
11 inches.
It's 11 inches. Okay, so it's a foot, 12 inches, and the monument behind it is, what, 32 inches on the wall? Yeah. Okay. Just want to be clear on that, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gaylor. Commissioner Rothrock.
A couple months ago, we had a project come in, we approved the project, and then the next month they wanted to change the signing. Now we're looking at this again. I'm wondering what's going on. Why wasn't this presented when we approved the project in the first place?
I will let staff answer that because it's a procedural answer.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioner Rothrock. This signed CUP, we had intended to bring it to the May meeting. However, between the applicant revising their submittal, and we have deadlines for noticing this project in a legal ad, as well as posting it, we missed that deadline to take it to last month's meeting. That's why, with that design review, we indicated that signage would be subject to a conditional use permit approval, and that's why we're bringing it to this meeting, which is the next available option.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Are there any further questions for the applicant or staff regarding this conditional use permit? All right, no one is saying anything, so we are going to move forward. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak regarding this proposed project? No one is coming forward from the public. I'm going to close the floor to the public at this time. Do any of the commissioners have any final thoughts that they would like to share on this project? No. All right, I'm not hearing anything. If anyone on Zoom wants to say something, just unmute yourselves and yell. All right, sounds good. With that said, I believe we are ready to entertain a motion.
I move to approve CUP 24-013 to allow a sign package that exceeds the allowed maximum number, area, and height of signs subject to the stipulations indicated in the staff report.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Unanimously carried. Congratulations to the applicant. The next two agenda items, the presentation is going to be combined, but then we are going to have two separate votes. Please go ahead.
How do I X out of it? I'm hitting that.
Here, I'll vamp. This is going to be DR-25-005, R squared POWERSPORTS, request for design review, and then CUP 25-002, a conditional use permit to allow side-by-side vehicle rentals.
All right, good evening.
Excuse me, Commissioner, Chair. Could we go back and do the Circle K vote again? The CUP number in the packet is different than the CUP number on the agenda.
Oh, no.
We just want to make sure that we get the correct CUP number there.
Which one is the correct one?
It looks like 25-001.
Okay, let me go back
Okay.
and find that.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it was good. That was a good interruption.
Computer keeps freezing, sorry. I move to approve CUP 24-001 to allow a,
25-001.
so 24 is wrong also. Okay. I move to approve CUP 25-001 to allow a sign package that exceeds the allowed maximum number, area, and height of signs, subject to the stipulations indicated in the staff report.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Unanimously carried.
Thank you.
All right. And now, Clover.
All right. Good evening, Chairwoman and Commissioners. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm Clover Pinion with Community Development, and tonight I'll be presenting the design review for R² POWERSPORTS along with their conditional use permit. Why is the keyboard not working? Doing something, I don't know, I'm having technical difficulties. There we go. Keyboard is lagging. All right, first, the requests and considerations and details for the design review. The request we have is for the approval of the renovation of an existing building and site for commercial sales. As you guys all know, this is located on the corner of Main Street and Mingus Avenue on the southwest side. We ask that you consider the applicant's submittal along with the stipulations that were recommended in the staff report. Just a couple details about this site. It's in a light commercial zone. It's approximately 0.29 acres. With their project, they will be doing some building, parking, and landscaping improvements. In addition, ADOT will be coming in and doing a sidewalk improvement project, which will be happening in the next 6 months, which is actually going to eliminate the northernmost driveway on Main Street, closest to the intersection. Like we said before, we're going to do this in conjunction with CUP-25-002 to ask for the approval of the rental of side-by-side vehicles. This is our location map. You can see there the parcel outlined in red. All of the parcels located around to the north, south, east, west are all C1. We do have two properties, the one to the north and the one to the east, that have conditional use permits for a higher intensity use. Obviously, the present Circle K being a gas station convenience store that's open 24/7, and then over on the east side we have the Sinful Sodas that got a conditional use permit for a drive-through, which would be considered a higher intensity use. Let's see. All right, so here we have their site plan, which also includes their landscaping. Here they have met all the parking requirements as well as the landscaping requirements for trees and bushes along Main and Mingus. We have allowed them to put an additional tree on Main Street because the tree on the west side on Mingus was close enough to the building to cover the amount of trees that were needed for the building landscaping. Also because of space. The left half of the building is, if you're looking at it, will be retail, and then the right side is going to contain an installation bay that will be completely enclosed. When we look at the elevations, I'll point out the new bay door that will be installed. It does show right now that it does have that back storage portion on the back there that is going to be demoed and removed. You can also see where the northernmost driveway there on Main is going to be eliminated, and then they're going to fill in that space with landscaping, create a couple more parking spaces, and then put in the display area for their side-by-side rentals. For the storage of the vehicles, they propose putting it on the, it's going to be on the north side of the building here. Let's see. So, right here is where they're going to store overnight. And then eventually, they have talked about storing in the back once that gets demoed, and they have their permanent fence permit approved. These are their renderings. This is looking at the property to the west. And then the one down here is the view looking to the east. Across the street, of course, main stage, and then over to the north is going to be Circle K. They indicate their display areas as well as all their parking. This is the driveway that will remain on Main Street, and then again, the most northern one will be eliminated and filled in with landscaping and parking. All right, these are their elevations. I did want to mention too, I have all the originals there, if you guys would like to look at those, because, I don't know, it's kind of nostalgic. So here we have the northern side of the building, and then the east side, which is the front. So as you can see, they're going to keep all of those windows that have been there. They'll have the entrance there on the left-hand side, and then the roll-up bay doors, which will allow them to move the side-by-sides in to do the light installation of the accessory parts. This is going to be the south side, and then we have the west side, which is the rear of the building. Again, that little storage area in the back is going to be demoed. All right, so this is from the site. If you look north, there is the present Circle K. Then if we look east, across the street is Main Stage Bar and Naughty Burgers Restaurant, as well as the Sinful Sodas that does have that CUP for the drive-through. And then this will be our view to the south, down Main Street. And then this is our view to the west, down Mingus. The stipulations for this project, first we just ask that it shall be in conformance with tonight's meeting. It should also conform to the code review comment letter that was dated October 9th, 2024. The work done on this side-by-side vehicle shall be strictly limited to the installation of the accessory bolt-on parts only. All work shall be completed in an enclosed installation bay. No mechanical work or vehicle servicing shall be done on site. The project shall also comply with all applicable sections of our zoning ordinance as well as building codes. And then we did add in stipulation number 5, which I will read into the record now. A building permit application must be submitted and diligently pursued within 24 months of this design review approval. If this requirement is not met, this design review approval shall expire and new code review and design review submittals shall be required. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move right into the conditional use permit. So this conditional use permit again for R² POWERSPORTS. We just went over a lot of the same stuff, so I'm not going to bore you with repeating myself. But we will talk about this request. It's obviously for the conditional use permit to allow the rental of side-by-side vehicles in a light commercial zone. We'd like you to consider the applicant's submittal along with the staff report that has the recommended stipulations and findings. Again, just some of the brief details, which we went over before. I would like to point out that there are several businesses along Main Street, but even within like a half-mile, 1-mile radius, that do allow for vehicle rentals, as well as shop repair and garages. Just briefly go over the site plan again. As you can see, they do show where they're going to display the side-by-sides. Again, they'll store them along the north side of the building and in the rear, and inside if they have to. Here are the findings of facts. First is the general findings. And based on our research, the rental, displaying, and storage of the side-by-sides is not considered detrimental to any of the surrounding C1 properties or their occupants. The second finding of facts is compatibility with the surrounding uses. The higher intensity rental use would be compatible with the uses that are already surrounded that parcel. The property to the north, as I mentioned, has a conditional use permit to allow the higher intensity gas station, service station, and the property to the east, which is the Simple Sodas, has the conditional use permit to allow the drive-through. Findings of fact, traffic and circulation. This property has 3 access points at present, like we've talked about, the one on Mingus and then the 2 on Main Street. One of the access points on Main, again, the one closest to the intersection, did I say on Main, is going to be eliminated when ADOT does their sidewalk improvement project, which should be happening in the next 6 months, according to Public Works. Which we feel will definitely improve the safety and circulation of said property. We also feel that this project is going to be less intensive than the previous use, which was the old Circle K, was open all the time and was very heavily used. So, all right. So the stipulations for this project are the same, but again, just real quick. Number 1, they should be developed in conformance with the plans that were reviewed at tonight's meeting. They shall conform to the code review comment letter, and the work done on the side-by-side vehicles shall be strictly limited to the installation of accessory bolt-on parts only, completed in an enclosed installation bay, and no mechanical or vehicle servicing will be done on site. The project shall also comply with all the applicable sections of the zoning ordinance and building codes. At this time, I would like to take any questions that you have. We do have the applicant here tonight who will take questions as well when you're ready.
Commissioners, for the purpose of the question and answer session, we're going to combine these 2 items, just that the presentation's combined. So if you have any questions about the design review or the conditional use permit, just go ahead and ask them now. Does anyone have questions for staff regarding either of these proposals?
This might be for the applicant, maybe both, but it's good to see that building getting used, first of all.
Right.
Well, can you make a left on Main from there?
I think as the driveway is proposed now, yes,
Okay.
Public Works didn't have any objections or asked for a
Okay.
pork chop or anything like that at
Okay.
this time.
And then I'd want, on the garage door, is that just a regular garage door, or is it going to be glass enclosed? Is it going to be a glass, decorative garage door?
It's going to be glass.
So you could like see in? Mm-hmm. And then on the side-by-side display, are those going to be elevated?
When you get up, please introduce yourself for the record.
No problem. Hi, I'm Andrew Rippey. Nice to meet you. What was the question?
Like where you display the side-by-side, is that going to be on a little elevated platform? Or is it just going to be on the sidewalk?
Just on the sidewalk.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah, we don't want those things sticking up in the sky. Yeah.
okay.
Commissioners Glasscott and Gaylor, do you have any questions for the applicant while he's up at the podium?
Do not.
I'm just curious, I want to make sure I understand what the use of the building is. What are we doing here? We're fixing vehicles in there?
It's retail, no fixing, no mechanical work. So it's, their main business is retail. So the
Okay.
retail of accessory parts that are bolt-on only. So the installation bay is for just the light installation, bolt-on only of said parts that are being retailed in the store. So their main objective is retail with an incidental use of light installation and then the rental of said side-by-sides.
So the access, you have an interior bay where you work on these vehicles, I guess?
Yes, sir.
The access from the alley?
No, it'll be through the bay door on the front. Let's see. So it'd be the eastern elevation shows the bay door, let's see.
What's it?
You're putting a bay door on the front of the building
Yes,
That's what the plans show.
in a C1 zone?
yes. Come on, this keyboard, I think needs new batteries.
There it is.
No, where'd the elevations go?
Well, that
You
is-
just had it.
Go right to, one more, there we go.
There. Oh, there it is, on the bottom.
Commissioner Gaylord, it's the lower elevation, the
Right.
east.
Okay. Yeah, I was confused. I thought the entry was from the alley for the bay.
Can,
How about the rental vehicles? What's that about? What are you renting?
We're renting side-by-side vehicles. The brand is Can-Am, so they're street.
What is that?
Do you know what a Polaris Razor is?
Kinda, yeah.
So it's full cage over the top, seat belts. It's like a little buggy that are street legal to drive on the trail.
So
It's
these
an
are-
all-terrain
these
vehicle.
are-
Yeah,
These are displayed on the street like the folks around the corner?
correct.
Okay.
you done, George?
Yep. I think that's probably all I have at the moment.
Can you go back
Thank
to the site plan for me?
Yes.
That'll work. Well, no, that one will work. So I'm kind of worried about several things. One is your garage bay is right there at your handicap ramp in space number 5. So I'm kind of curious how you're going to get vehicles in and out of the bay when you have customers parked in space number 5. So in my mind, space number 5 disappears
Okay.
and no longer becomes a parking space because now you're going to have people parking in the way of getting in your garage bay to work on the unit. So that's a concern. Going through the application, if I remember right, you're being required for this use 7 spaces, and you're showing 8 currently. But I'm worried about space 7 and 8 as well, because in my mind, what's going to happen is you're going to have the side-by-side displays there on that pork chop, or like you're showing, but then it's going to carry on through all the way to the driveway, and that whole 7 and 8 are going to become parking spaces for side-by-sides, because you have no other visible space on the property to show off your product, other than the ones that are parked all the way over here by the trash can. So then the other concern I have, carrying that forward even further, is if you look at the other side-by-side rentals, not only in Cottonwood, but the 2 in Verde Village as well, they park those things all the way out at the street. So in my mind, that whole landscaping feature from one end of this property to the other is going to become parking spaces for your side-by-sides on display as well. So how do we deal with not allowing parking spaces to be taken over by display and the landscaping not to become display as well? Because that's what I see happening, whether you intend it to today or not.
Understandable.
I see that's where we're going to go, because the idea is you're going to want to get those things out there and get people to see them as they're driving by 35 miles an hour, so you can
Yeah.
get them to pull in there and rent. So,
Could I respond to that?
yes, sir.
As far as the display where the, all the new bushes and tree, like the landscape, that's gonna be curbed on one side, I believe. We weren't, we're not planning on using any of that for parking. That's strictly for just, what's required for us to open, The display area on the Mingus Avenue side, where it's highlighted in red there too, I don't see any more than like 3 vehicles out there. They're not as big as cars too. But those vehicles will never go into the landscape area, that's for sure. Plus, I don't want them close to the road anyways. Just my
But you
thought on
don't,
that.
you're not expecting them to bleed over into spaces 7 and 8 as well?
No, most of the time, they'll probably be rented anyways, so they won't really be there. But It would be nice to have at least 2 to 3 there on the corner. We are open to making changes too. But the number 7 and 8, we don't need to display there. There's trees in front of there anyways. They're kind of hidden. We would never, and if we wanted to display them there, we would have put that into a display. Yeah, I guess that's my comments on that.
All right, like I said, I'm not worried about the way you intend to do it today.
Yeah.
I'm worried about how things go as you're open and all of a sudden space becomes a premium.
I understand.
And then everything starts bleeding into all of the required accoutrements that you have to this project without necessarily meaning it to, but that's just the way life goes. So
Understand.
that's my biggest issues with any of that. But otherwise, I think that garage door on the front of the building, I like the looks of the glass garage doors personally. I just see access to it becoming kind of a nuisance for you, not necessarily for the customers, but for you at some point in time. But otherwise, as was said before, I'm anxious to see that building go back into use again. And this is going to
Make it look
be
good.
something definitely nice, and the landscape's going to clean up that corner, so.
Any further questions for the applicant?
I got one more.
Go ahead.
Where you're going to store them? Mm-hmm. And you're going to keep them there at night, obviously.
Yeah.
Is there a fence or something there, or?
We're waiting for, on that answer, on Mingus Avenue. They are doing, ADOT's doing the sidewalk on Mingus too.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, right? We're waiting to see what we want to do with our exterior wall based off what they're going to do with that sidewalk. If that's so, but we are planning to do a wall, yes.
Okay.
Or a fence, whatever is suffice, I guess, but we want it to look good.
But no fence internal to where, like you got your side-by-sides over here, no fence like from the
No,
parking lot?
not needed. We'll have, we'll have surveillance, and I'm not too worried about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Quick question for, sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Rothrock.
I see you're going to have 5 trees and some bushes besides?
So it's 6 trees, I believe.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. How many are already there?
7 trees, actually, sir. Yeah. Some of them kind of look like bushes. If you look at
Yeah.
if you look on the north side corner of the building, 8 foot, that's a tree, not a bush. The bushes are going to be right behind it along the building.
How many are already there?
That's a good question. 1, 2, 3. 3 trees right now.
How are you going to keep the new ones alive?
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 We're going to water them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry for the remark.
Yeah, where will you get that water?
That's a good question. There is a, I'm not going to give you a definite answer. I don't want this like being set in stone, but there is a drip system already up there.
Okay.
We're going to tie into that. That was our plan. Yeah.
Any chance of rain barrels to supplement that so you don't have to always use potable water?
I'm totally open to that. I wouldn't be against that. I'm not familiar with rain barrels, but I can get educated on that. And
Cool.
definitely. I'm all about the environment. As
Yeah.
far as keeping things looking good, yeah.
Well, I
Keeping the
certainly-
trees looking good, yeah.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate that. What you're showing here will look good if it can be kept alive.
That's the goal. Yeah. We want this place to look great. We want it to be an inviting place.
We want it to be also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was it for me.
My question was just if you install a wall, and this is more for staff, actually.
Okay.
Will this come back through for review, or will it be administrative?
I believe they're just looking at doing more of a fence, if I'm not mistaken, so it would just be a permanent.
Okay,
Yeah, as long as, because they would have to adhere to all the height restrictions.
okay.
If it were to be some monstrosity, or if they were asking it to be 8 feet, then it would come back, but that's not what they've proposed.
All right.
Oh.
Go
I have
ahead,
another
Commissioner
question.
Rothrock.
How will the rentals get to the destinations?
They will be driven off the lot to the destination and then come back.
Will they be allowed to go through Old Town?
Will Well, yeah, any public street, they'll be allowed to, I guess, drive on that, yeah. If you want to know my plan, if I'm going to send them through there, it's kind of a long way to all the trails, so probably not,
Right.
yeah.
Well, they could go up Mingus Avenue and out a little ways on 89 and then down on Grosseto to avoid having to go through Old Town. Presently, there's a lot of noise, not just because of construction now, but in general, there's plenty of noise in our main revenue-generating district,
Yes.
you might say.
I eat dinner down there a lot, I am aware, yeah.
Very good. So I kind of think it'd be nice if the rentals could be asked to avoid Old Town on their way out to Sycamore Canyon.
I wouldn't be against that. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Any further questions? Go ahead, Commissioner, or Vice Chair.
Yeah, could we, the conditional use permit requires that staff go out and revisit the site once in a great while to verify that things are actually following the uses stipulated, correct?
Yes.
Could we make the parking in 7 and 8 part of the conditional use permit instead of part of the design review, so that we continue to keep an eye on those two spaces and make sure they stay open for parking, since we're already at a minimum as it is with what's available on this site?
Yes.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
ready to make a
right.
recommendation if you are.
All right, at this time, I believe we do have some people from the public that want to speak regarding this particular project. Thank you very much, applicant. You can take a seat. And also Clover, you are free. If anyone from the public would like to come forward, I do think I have some sheets here. Are you,
Dave Swartout.
oh, thank you. I was,
Yeah, I'm in favor of this. One thing you guys, I don't know if you're aware of, but the renter of these vehicles is a higher income bracket compared to a Jeep Tour customer or some other activities. And Cottonwood, I think, in this neighborhood especially for years, we need that upscale individual. So I think it's a great use for the area and something that is a pretty clean industry that, you know, with the tourism and stuff, it's going to be an asset, I think. And as far as getting into that garage, Randy, I would say that I don't ever see people, to be honest, that are coming in wheelchairs to go on these things to go off-road. So probably it won't get used too often, so I don't think it'll cause them too much trouble. But, so that would be my input.
all right, thank you very much. And then I believe we had one other sheet. This was Claudel Johnson. Oh.
I didn't necessarily mean to speak, I just wanted to say I was in favor.
Oh, could you please say it into the record, though? Introduce yourself and then just say that.
My name is Claudel Johnson, I just wanted to say that I was in favor.
All right, thank you very much. And did you have a statement you'd like to make, sir?
I'd like to, please. My name is Michael Birch, and I am a 35-year resident of the Verde Valley, property owner on 17th Place, which is within the area of the ATVs. Full disclosure, I'm also the father of Mark Rippey, the applicant, and grandfather of Andrew. All I really wanted to say was, these guys will do whatever you say. Their word is their bond, and I know they're going to do a good job with this business. My son is a 25-year veteran firefighter, first responder. We all respect that. And I appreciate you guys not putting a lot of roadblocks that are insurmountable for them to get this business going. They will do what you say, believe me. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Please, when you have a moment, fill one of these out and hand it to Yvette before you leave. Thank you.
You got one more person.
Oh, we have one more. Yes, please come forward and introduce yourself for the record. And then when you're done, you can also fill out a sheet.
So my name is Nate Cawley, and I'm just a concerned citizen in this community. And just in regards to the business per se, I am concerned that the retail side of things is supposed to be small repairs, i.e. just put bolts on small pieces and parts of the vehicle, and to the point where the conditional use is going to be for the side-by-side rentals. And I have a feeling, and my gut is that those side-by-side rentals are going to become the main part of the business. And at that point, is that really what they're going for in this? Or is it just going to be, it seems just like an odd thing. I also did a little bit of research just on it, and in regards to R² Sports, it was also part of Sedona Can-Am in Sedona, and that is one of those throughout the history. I'm a proud volunteer of Cottonwood, Sedona, across the board, and a lot of the companies had formed a coalition called Red Rock OHV Conservation Crew, and from my understanding, multiple people have tried to reach out to Sedona Can-Am specifically. I don't know if you guys are the same company, but just to work with the community and work with the city and also donate 1% of the rentals to help out with trail maintenance. And unfortunately, it seems like Sedona Can-Am company is the only company that's not willing to give back to the community. So I do understand where everyone's coming from. He's lived in this area for a long time, but I'm also concerned that he will turn the page, and then if he's willing to help support the trails, if he's willing to help support the community with community events, that is one thing I'm just concerned citizen over here, so.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just a reminder that the commission cannot directly respond to public comment. Are there any further comments from the public? All right, at this time, no one else is coming forward, and I close the floor to the public. The commissioners will have one last opportunity to share their final thoughts on this project. Commissioner Camilla.
I think it's a good use of the building, and, you know, like the revenue stream that's going to bring in, because people that ride side-by-sides are going to stop, and they're going to eat something, and they're going to stop and get fuel, so, you know, it's good all around. And then you go around here, and I ride my ATV around, and this area, it's prime for that. And then with the ancillary stuff that comes with it, because they're going to stop and eat, either on the way here, on the way home, or during. They're going to get fuel. They're going to visit the local shops. They're going to buy something. So I think it's a good use. And that building, it'll be nice not to see that building like that anymore. That's probably one of the biggest things. So my comments.
Commissioner Rothrock?
It certainly would be nice to see that building in use again. I hope that they get aboard, if not already, any trail maintenance that's needed. These things are not real gentle on the land, and I'm a mountain bike rider. I've seen what they can do. And I'll get you some information about rain barrels.
Commissioner Gaylord.
Hi there. I just wanted to make sure I understand what we're doing to the outside of the building. Can you show me the elevation again? Is this pretty much as is?
Commissioner Gaylord, just to verify, are you asking if this is the current condition of the building, or because?
Yeah, it looks like we're adding some split face block to the front of the building. Well, the windows are otherwise the same, kind of with the exception of the bay door.
Applicant is saying that all windows are in place with the addition of that bay door.
Okay. The split block that they were referring to, is that what's there now?
Yes, they're saying yes.
Okay. So it's really not changing anything. The stucco canopy, we're just going over the old headliner that used to be up there. We just put some stucco on it and painting it. Was that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have paint colors?
Yes.
We have a material board here, Commissioner Gaylord, they're gray and white.
Should also be part of
Yeah, it's in the packet as
the
well.
packet.
All right. I don't know if I'm big on the gray and white, but, you know, that's probably the only comment that I would have, I guess.
Thank you, Commissioner Gaylord. Commissioner Glasscock?
No, I think it's a great use of that property and a great business idea for Cottonwood, as there are quite a few trails here, and I agree that it's going to be very valuable to the location. That's all.
Thank you. Vice Chair?
No, I don't really have any comments. Everything I think has been gone over fairly well. The one thing to Commissioner Rothrock's concerns, that lot has, the parking area on that property has a lot of slope to it that exists naturally. The building sits higher than the road currently, and I think you could get by with some of this rainwater harvesting idea by just allowing for some breaks in your curbing that you were talking about, to allow the water that sheets off of that parking lot to flow into the landscaped areas, and maybe put that into your design for your gravel and whatnot around those trees, to allow them to actually become wells that capture that rainwater that sheets off of that parking area. It's free and it works really well, and might as well take advantage of what little rain we do get around here, and all it'll cost you is a couple cuts in the curb. So just something to think about. But otherwise, I'm in favor of this. I have had some citizens concerned about this becoming an ATV rental, which, it is what it is. I don't think it's going to be a detriment as far as the question goes about whether it stays ATV sales and parts and materials, or becomes just rental, period. It doesn't really matter as far as what we're doing tonight. We're allowing both. And if this morphs into just being full rental, that is part of what we're allowing through the conditional use permit. So it'll be whatever the market bears, and they'll modify their uses of that property based on what works and what doesn't work. So all that being said, I'm good to go with the plan as presented, with the conditions and the modifications that have been stated.
So you're no longer interested in adding a stipulation to come back for that?
Well, I was going to add the parking that be part of the conditional use, and I was going to make that part of the motions, but
Okay.
yeah, that's the only change I see that's in anywhere close to being part of this discussion, I guess being part of fundamental to the discussion, so.
All right. So personally, like my fellow commissioners, I really like seeing that shuttered building be improved. I personally like the glass bay garage door. I think it's a nice look. I think it will really open up what currently is a pretty sort of dark building. And I really like the addition of those trees. I realize that trees do take water, but they also mitigate heat island effects, and they go a long way to making a more pleasant Main Street. I hope that you seriously take to heart keeping everybody moving away from Old Town, and it sounds like you will. So, having said all that, if you are okay as an applicant with the slight change in the stipulation that Vice Chair Garrison mentioned, I believe we are ready for a motion.
I move to approve DR 25-005 for the renovation of an existing building and site for commercial sales, subject to the stipulations indicated in the staff report.
Can you add one other thing? They forgot to write it down.
And the addition of stipulation 5 is read into the record by staff.
Sorry.
Right? Okay.
Yes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimously carried.
We have one more.
We
but
do have one more. We have the CUP.
I got to get to it. I move to approve CUP 25-002 to allow side-by-side vehicle rentals in a C1 zone, subject to the stipulations indicated in the staff report, including the addition of space 7 and 8 as part of the conditional use permit.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Unanimously carried. Congratulations. All right, next we have DR-25-006, CTW helicopter hangars request for design review.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commission, Tina Hayden with Community Development, just in case you forgot. Tonight presenting on design review, DR 25-006. The request tonight, applicant is requesting design review approval for the following: overall site plan development for hangars, landing pads, parking, landscaping, etc. Additionally, we have an unlisted use, which is the tourism park and ride. So applicant has a parking proposal for that unlisted use. It's subject to the commission determination and approval. And lastly, the applicant is proposing an 8-foot tall perimeter fence, which is permitted in an I2 heavy industrial zone, subject to commission approval. The considerations are the applicant's submittal and the staff report with recommended stipulations. Here is our locator map. We can see the proximity to the Cottonwood Airport here. We have MINGUS running this way, and Happy Jack this way. So this is airport lease landed zoned I2 heavy industrial. There's approximately 7.5 acres in total for this lease land area. The project itself is focused on the southern 2.3 acres, this hashed-in area. There is a wash or drainage easement that kind of bisects the property. I'd also like to state that in the letter of intent by the applicant, they do indicate that while this area isn't developed for the meantime, it will be treated to prevent soil erosion and accumulation of dust off-site. Applicant is proposing 2 hangars and 2 helipads. Also like to point out that there are FAA regulations that govern lighting within the aircraft area. In the letter of intent, the applicant states that lighting will not be in excess of those requirements. So while it may preempt our zoning ordinance, they will do no more than what is required per FAA. Also like to state that applicant is proposing uses of medevac. When I say limited, typically sleeping quarters are provided for crew, but per our ordinance that a conditional use permit would be required. The applicant is not submitting for that, and so the medevac is limited to not allowing that residential element. The other item is that tourism with lounge and associated retail. Here's our site plan. The grayish blue areas are the proposed helipad. Also, I'd like to call attention to our north arrow here. This is a site that's situated not per those cardinal directions, so it's a little hard to explain here. Purple massings here are the hangars. The green massings are those attached retail office suites here. This is Happy Jack Way, showing the entrance that aligns with the storage across the way. And then this perimeter here is showing where that 8-foot tall fence area would go with the gate right here. Applicant has proposed the landscape plan. Per zoning ordinance, we require 10-foot landscape for the street frontage. Applicant meets the building area and parking area landscaping requirements. Within the aircraft area, they are not proposing any landscape, and this is also per FAA regulations to ensure safety with the helicopters. Here are the proposed elevations. We have our west elevation up top here with that fence. So this is looking from Happy Jack, kind of in that northwest direction. Also like to point out, right here is the preliminary fencing plan. While the applicant does indicate an 8-foot tall fence on the site plan, the elevation shows that it's a bit less at total height of 7 foot 3 inches. Our zoning ordinance does say that any barbed wire which is being proposed has to be at minimum 6 foot or above grade, and the applicant is demonstrating this is a 6-foot line right underneath the barbed wire, and then they will add that on. They also do have a proposal for preliminary signage. This is subject to staff review and approval of a permanent sign plan. Any signage indicated on this submittal is preliminary and just for reference. Here's some additional massings. We have some aerial views of the site. Again, airport's right here, Happy Jack is right here, and there's that driveway that aligns with the storage across the way. And some applicant proposed renderings. Again, the signage does look huge. It's indicated for reference. Staff will ensure compliance with the zoning ordinance. And then we have our site views. These are actually our street views. It's blocked off right there. This top left here, we are seeing Mingus here and Happy Jack here. There's some city buildings here. A project area is in this location and further south. This right here is Happy Jack, looking, let's say, southwest at this point. Again, the orientation is interesting. I did try to take note as I was taking these pictures of the orientation. Here's the storage facility across the way. Further down is phase 1 of the Cottonwood Springs RV Park. Here on the bottom left, we are looking at Mingus pointing northwards. And then here we're looking at Mingus pointing southwards. Again, you can see the city buildings here. The Humane Society is further down. Here are our site views. These two on the left hand, we're looking at that drainage area. So the airport is off this way. My back is to Happy Jack on both of these photos. And then these are also looking northwards at the site from the, I'm going to say, southwestmost corner, looking again towards the airport here. And adjacent sites, this is a view of the RV storage area that's existing. This site will eventually become phase 4 of the Cottonwood Springs RV Park. That is going to come to the Commission for Design Review in the future. Here we can see additional storage there, and then the city buildings here. And then in the staff report, there are 6 stipulations recommended. The first one is our typical, the development plans adhere with what's approved at planning and zoning. Item number 2 is project conforms with the code review board comment letter. Item 3 is a conditional use permit approval is required if they want to provide those sleeping accommodations for medevac crew. Item number 4 is that lighting is subject to staff review and approval with the building permit submittal. Number 5, approval of the signage with permanent sign permit submittal. And then number 6, the building permit application must be submitted within and diligently pursued within 24 months of this approval. That concludes my presentation for this item. I can answer any questions you have. I have the applicant as well. I did request that the airport manager be present for this. Fortunately, he had a scheduling conflict. I did get some comments from him that if you have any questions, I can address.
Thank you very much. Do any of the commissioners have questions for staff, including questions that they would pose to the airport manager that hopefully Tina can answer using in the notes that she has?
and I'd look through anything on how they're gonna fuel everything. Is there a company fuel truck, or are they using existing airport fueling operations? No new fuel lines?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioner Camella. Applicant is proposing a fuel farm within the aircraft area here. As far as connecting to the airport, I don't believe they are, but I'll have them answer that question.
Any further questions? Go
What are
ahead.
the airport manager's comments?
Thank you, Commissioner Rothrock. I had asked him about the FAA regulations regarding lighting and landscaping. He said that there are regulations that could preempt our zoning ordinance specifically for the lighting. It's a little more vague on the landscaping, but from evaluation of our zoning ordinance, no additional landscaping in the area is required. I have did you want me to go through the list of comments he had? Or,
Maybe not.
okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Rothrock.
I have one go back if I
Go
can.
ahead, Commissioner Camilla.
As far as the medevac crew, maybe this is for the applicant, do they just come in when they need to, or are they gonna be there during the day and then leave in the evening, or or just when needed? Is the ship gonna be there just all day, and then they're gonna go home at night or go somewhere else, or are they just gonna be called in, land, whatever they need to do with the patient, and go from there?
Thank you, Commissioner Camilla. I think that is an excellent question for the applicant to answer. I would just again reiterate that as far as sleeping quarters go, that's still subject to a conditional use permit. So at this time, it would not be permitted for them to have sleeping accommodations.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Commissioners Gaylord and Glasscott on Zoom, do you have any questions for staff?
I do not.
All right. And Vice Chair, do you have anything?
No, ma'am.
All right. At this time, I think we have some questions for the applicant. Please introduce yourself for the record.
Commissioner, my name is Jack Kimmerly, Grand Canyon State Development, part owner in the project and developer general contractor. To answer Commissioner Camella's question, how are we going to fuel? There will be a fuel farm on site as noted on the site plan. There'll be 2 standpipes that go to both helipads.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and that will not be, so helicopters are Jet A fuel. Avgas is the only service that's provided on the field. That's obviously separated down low from the topography, obviously. So yes, they have to have Jet A right adjacent to the helipads.
And then obviously I know the answer to this, but there's no fueling inside the hangars at all.
No. No, all fueling operations will strictly adhere to the FAA regulations. To answer your question on what their shifts look like, they're 12-hour shifts. And so, yeah, there's always, there's two shifts per day and 2 crews of 3. So a pilot and 2 EMTs.
Okay.
And they have about an hour overlap when they start their shift. Just in case there's an emergency, those guys are ready to go.
So that the ship will live there then, but the crew won't?
Eventually, yeah, the goal is, with a forthcoming submittal is.
Okay.
24/7.
24/7, 7 days a week, 365, absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions for the applicant from other commissioners? This is your opportunity, Commissioners Gaylord and Glasscott.
Not me.
Okay. I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you very much for coming today. Is there anything else about the project that you'd like us to know that wasn't covered in the presentation?
Not at this time. Staff's doing a great job.
All right.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to speak regarding this proposed project? Please introduce yourself for the record.
Dave Swartout. Didn't know this was going to be here. I just was curious if this is moving the existing helicopter operation from the other side of the airport to here. Is this Guardian Air that is through Northern Arizona Healthcare? Or is it competing, company? I mean, it's the first I'd heard about it, but those are my questions. Are we going to just have 2 competing medevac companies, or what the situation?
So typically, the commission does not answer questions, but staff may.
Yeah, no problem answering that.
Yeah, Madam Chair, that might be a question for the applicant, but we already do have two different medical helicopter groups. To my knowledge, it's not Guardian Air moving, but again, the applicant can probably better address that.
Applicant, please come forward
The air method, right?
and go ahead to answer that question.
Yeah, it'd be Native Air moving from the existing EAA building, which is pretty dilapidated, getting them a sweet facility, proper facility, and further decreasing emergency response times. Right now, we're in that ballpark of 25 to 14 minutes. Every minute matters. So if we can shave that off down to that 10-minute mark, that's the goal, or sub 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak regarding this proposed project? Yes, please come forward and introduce yourself for the record.
Yes, I am Joy Mosley. I'm Cottonwood, Arizona, and I recently drove down Happy Jack today and noticed that to the south of this is a rock crushing operation that's creating a lot of dust. And I'm curious, I have two questions of the applicant. How would they mitigate dust as it would affect the helicopters? The helicopters create extra dust. And what is the surface here? Are they doing blacktop, concrete? Those are two questions that I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mosley. The applicant may come forward and answer those questions.
Yeah, no problem. So they are getting ready to move that material, the owners of that leasehold, and there'll be a future project coming up for what their plans are for industrial lots for that. But their plan is to move that material to another property that they own. And then our material is a mix of asphalt, concrete, and then a lot bigger landscape rock for our landscape plan. We're in that kind of 4-inch minus range, which is about 4-inch rock with a liner underneath. And so that'll help mitigate dust. And so the guys that have that rock crushing activity, those are actually my contractors as well on the project. So we're going to work together. I've been working with those guys for 10 years on definite dust mitigation, because we as the owners of the property long-term don't want to have a bunch of dust blowing up everywhere. So yeah, that's a big concern of ours as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Is there anyone else from the public who wanted to speak regarding this project? All right, at this time, I'm going to close the floor to the public. This is the commissioner's final opportunity to share thoughts on this project or ask any very, very last-minute questions. Commissioner Camilla?
No, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Rothrock? No, thank you. Commissioner Glasscott?
No questions.
Commissioner Gaylord?
No comments.
All right. Vice Chair,
Comments?
if you have any.
Yeah, so I really like that this is going in this direction. I know where it's at currently, and it's not good. This is going to be much safer. It's a great use of the space. The history on that area is all that land was purchased originally to create for additional aviation opportunities. This will be the first thing that's happened on that land that's actually an aviation opportunity. So it's actually nice to see it being used for what it was originally purchased for. So that's a great use of the land. I like the elevations. It's going to be a smart-looking building. It's going to be a real asset to that area. And with all the money that's being invested by the families across the street, it's going to be a great addition there also. And it's going to be all confined. My only drawback to this whole thing is that is a massively long fence that's going to back right up to that road that's currently the access to the back of the hangars now, which isn't going to look great, but it is an industrial area, so I guess that is an industrial look. Other than that, I really am anxious to see this move forward. So good luck with it, and hopefully it works out for you.
Anytime I think that we can help aid emergency service providers, I think that that's usually a good thing in our community. I think that this, to paraphrase the Vice Chair, is a smart-looking building. It's well done. I like seeing the landscaping in the front. And I think that in terms of safety features, the site is set up really nicely. And that's so important when you're talking about giant blades that go in circles in the air. So with that said, I believe we are ready for a motion.
Move to approve DR 25-006 for the proposed helicopter hangars, landing pads, accessory uses, proposed parking, and an 8-foot tall perimeter fence, all subject to the stipulations as indicated in the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously carried. Next up, we have ZO-25-001. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commission. I present zoning ordinance text amendment ZO 25-001 regarding Section 310, or Historic Preservation Ordinance.
You guys aren't going to stay for the text amendments? Sorry.
No worries.
Exciting stuff.
Oh, are those the cities or the applicants? Okay. Sorry, Tina, go ahead. I had to make my joke.
No problem. Gives me a moment to take a breath. So just a brief history with regarding the purpose of the amendments. On October 25th of last year, City Council directed staff to clarify the appeals process within Section 310. And then on February 10th of this year, City Council and our Historic Preservation Commission had a joint meeting in which Council expressed that the current requirements are satisfactory. The proposed text amendments are intended to maintain those current requirements and processes that were deemed satisfactory by Council. We did want to clarify the intent. We wanted to streamline processes, remove reiterative language, and increase readability and flow. I'd like to point out, this is the current Section 310 outline. And no, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. There is no L. So again, we have to do that formatting change. One of the things we're wanting to do is consolidate subsections H, I, and M into one section, Certificate of Appropriateness. We're also moving this historic preservation waiver to this area, and we're renaming it Removal. And then we're also consolidating subsections K and N into one section, Finding of Hardship for Certificates of Appropriateness. And I do understand that this may be foreign to you, considering it's the Historic Preservation Commission, so please do stop me if you have any additional questions. I tried to make it clear in the staff report what the Commission's roles and responsibilities are, but again, stop me if you have any questions. This is the proposed outline that we're recommending here, reducing it by 2 items here, consolidating everything. You can see that we've removed definitions because per last meeting, or the meeting prior to that, Council actually approved the Section 201 text amendments to consolidate all definitions under one roof. These are the outline change details. Those are the bullet points that are in your staff report. So again, removing that subsection B, definitions. We have a new subsection 310D, general, establishing our public hearing notification processes. We have a new subsection G titled removal. Again, we're not trying to set any new precedents, set any new regulations. We are essentially taking this historic preservation waiver and retitling it removal in a more readable fashion. Also, consolidation of section 310 H, I, and M, as I said before, consolidation of K and N as well, and then a new subsection 310K, refiling, to indicate that there is a 6-month ban on refiling of similar applications. Here is a summary of the amendments, the content itself. Throughout the Section 310, we have Historic Preservation District and Historic Preservation Overlay District. They're used synonymously. We wanted to remove the term overlay to add clarity because we have two definitions in Section 201. One is Historic Preservation District, which refers to zoning overlay districts. The other is Historic District, which refers to districts that are indicated on the National Register. Add additional clarifying language that manager is actually the Community Development Director, not City Manager. Clarifying language that the commission is the Historic Preservation Commission. Within this section, Planning and Zoning Commission is also indicated, so we wanted to have that clarity. Establish that all commission decisions are appealable to council. Clarifying the processes for all of the commission decisions. Clarifying criteria for approval of certificates of appropriateness. Establishing the public hearing notification process, the 6-month bar and refiling, and then formatting and grammar. Here is the timeline. On May 28th, we took this before the Historic Preservation Commission. They did recommend approval to you guys tonight. Here we are, June 16th, looking for a recommendation from the commission. We will take this to the July 15th meeting for City Council vote on the ordinance, and if it's adopted, it should be in effect on August 14th. That ends my presentation. Again, I understand if you have a lot of questions, more than happy to answer.
All right, commissioners, go ahead and ask questions freely of staff.
Madam Chair, if I could really quick, to go with Tina's timeline here, let the commission know the May 28th Historic Preservation Commission is not, meeting is not the only one we worked with that commission on. We worked through several meetings with them to get to this point, so they were very satisfied with what they recommended to this commission.
Oh, that's good information. Thank you very much, Mr. Director.
I have a question. What's the reasoning for the 6-month moratorium on refiling?
Thank you, Vice Chair Garrison. I will say that in multiple subsections, it was actually reiterated quite a few times. It just seemed generally mindful to just have it in one section, have it apply to all subsections.
Okay, so going that direction, is it necessary to have a delay in refiling? I mean, it would seem to be inefficient to me to have an applicant, because of maybe a simple change that has to be made, have to wait a half a year to be able to come back and ask for that to be revisited. During that time, they're sitting there paying for all of this, as well as the property and whatever else they're dealing with, or they're trying to go through escrow, and to have it be delayed for 6 months seems to be, like I said, not only inefficient, but maybe harmful to the process in my mind. So I'm not getting a reason for having it being added other than it's already there in other places. Is it necessary at all?
Thank you, Vice Chair Garrison. I'd say the answer is two-pronged. Again, with what council has said, we're looking not to, really change the regulations, but just refine them. I'd also say that other prong, to clarify, this is a ban on refiling, not for revisions that, the HP Commission requests, but perchance the HP Commission denies the project, it creates that ban on a refiling within 6 months, so that we're not having the reiterative, well, what about this, or what about this? So that refiling ban just addresses if there's a denial. If there is a tabling, or as this commission requested changes to the Circle K design review, it's not going to ban that process. I'd also like to say that we have, regarding certificate of appropriateness, we have the finding of hardship. So if there is stipulations or denial that the applicant determines to impose a financial hardship, they can apply for finding of hardship, or they can appeal to council. So there are additional opportunities for the applicant to get that project going. And again, this is just preventing the commission from having similar items month after month.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, the language actually says that, as Tina mentioned, if the commission denies an application, it doesn't say that they can't absolutely reapply. It says the commission may reject an additional application for 6 months if what they're submitting is substantially the same that was just denied.
Okay.
If I may just add also, they've both done a great job of all the reasons for it, and it's similar to other land use actions. Once there's a denial, and in fact, it is, they'll have some sort of moratorium on reapplying, and part of that is to improve the efficiency, to make sure that people do come with a full application, that they come complete. And so once it is fully reviewed, it's been noticed and all those things, and if it's denied, then you don't have people coming back and trying to get another bite of the apple over and over again within a short period of time, because that ends up reducing efficiencies and causing public confusion as well.
Yeah, the only reason I'm asking, I'm thinking of the last one that caused real consternation was the Jurison project down in the old Coombs Cabinet Building, and that one was originally denied as well. I believe the council overruled it, but, you know, I'm just thinking about when you get the Historic Preservation Commission involved, it tends to be things that are not necessarily wanted to be more concerning to the public, but they tend to be. And so, you know, there always is that probability that a application coming through them is going to have issues either among the public or among the staff as it's concerned to the applicant and what he's trying to do. So I'm just trying to think of how you get away from holding up a project because maybe, you know, two different entities aren't seeing exactly eye to eye, but mostly. And it just feels like having to make the party wait for 6 months, and I get that the noticing and all that, that's going to take a couple months as well. It just seems to be kind of putting that out there a little far in my mind, but I get it. I understand what you're trying to do, and it sounds like you've created a workaround if there has to be something expedited for some reason. So I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else have any further, sorry, I was just rereading. Does anyone else have any further questions or comments regarding the proposed text amendment?
None?
All right. If there are no further questions or comments from the commission, is there anyone here from the public that has any questions or comments regarding the proposed text amendment? I think we lost most of our public friends, so. No one is coming forward, so I'm going to close the floor to the public. And this is the last opportunity to make any statements regarding this proposed amendment. Nope, I'm not seeing any movement from the commission. We are ready to entertain a motion, Mr. Vice Chair.
I move to recommend approval of ZO 25-001 for the Section 310 Historic Preservation Ordinance Text Amendment.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right, unanimously carried. Now we have call to the public. If there's anyone here from the public who would like to address the commission on any planning and zoning related item not on the agenda this evening, you may have 3 minutes to speak. No one is coming forward, so I'm going to go ahead and close the floor to the public. We do not have any discussion items this evening. I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we're out.
Bam.